Good morning, dear student. We are in TY B.Sc Zoology Semester 1 classroom. We are studying paper 2, Mammalian Histology. And today we'll see a topic, elementary canal. This topic is from your syllabus, 9 city syllabus 3.4 topic, where elementary canal will see a basic histological organization with reference to different part of a elementary canal, like transverse section of esophagus, transverse section of stomach, transverse section of duodenum, transverse section of ileum and rectum. This is a picture of overall abdominal cavity where this all elementary canal is accommodated. That majority portion where all elementary canal is accommodated is called as abdominal cavity. So here you can see esophagus, a stomach portion of a large intestine and a small intestines. So in detail, if we started tracing out these elementary canal from the mouth, that is oral cavity, supported with the glands, salivary glands, then it's lead to the esophagus. Esophagus joins with the stomach. Now here it is a stomach, a large bulb-shaped stomach is there, which narrows down and converted into a canal or tube-like structures that starts the duodenum, that is a small intestine, which forms this further duodenum and ileum portion. Thereafter, it's connected with the large intestine. This is a pinkish color structure. Here is shown a large intestines. So here it is a ascending limb of a colon. Then this transfer portion of a colon. Then descending portion of a colon. Then here is a sigmoid colon and rectum and anal canal. At the junction where these small intestine and large intestine unite, at that point in human you will find a vermiform appendix, a small tube-like ended finger-like structure, that is a appendix, which is a rudimentary organ in a human, uh, which is supposed to be meant for digestion of a cellulose, but we don't eat that cellulose, so now it is considered as a rudimentary appendage in our body. Apart from this tube system, digestive system is also supported with some glands, that is a liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and initially we seen here is a salivary gland. So digestive tract comprises of esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. Histological organization, we are interested in this portion with respect to our course mammalian histology. We are more concerned about the histological structure of digestive system. So throughout this tube system in GI tract, you will find the basic organization of this histological organization of this digestive tract divided into four layers: mucosa layer, submucosa layer, muscularis layers and serosa layer. Now all the modifications you will find present in this mucosa and submucosa majorly, as it changes from esophagus, stomach, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, colon. You will find there forms a major changes in these two layer only. This rest muscularis and serosa remain almost same throughout the GI tract. Okay, so this is a general plan of alimentary canal where they have tried to show all the components of histology present in a elementary tract. In the only elementary tract, that means a tube system from starting from esophagus to the rectum. Okay, so initially we just said that it comprises of a major four layers. Histologically, it comprises of major four layers. So that layers are this internal portion here, middle portion, and outer portion. So here you will find this is a mucosa layer. Okay. This mucosa layer which forms the innermost lining of a epithelia. After that epithelia there is a lamina propria and muscularis mucosa. So this mucosa layer is a one major part in a histology of alimentary canal. After that there comes the tunica muscularis where they indicate the muscular portion present in a tube system, that is a circular muscle and longitudinal muscles, and the outermost layer is a serosa portion, that is outer covering, that is outer connective tissue layer, and mesothelium, that is muscular layer and connective tissue layers that form the serosa. Now in between this tunica, which is mucosa muscularis and serosa layer, you will find some other things are developed which supports digestion. So some time you will see a crisps of lubricant present in a mucosa layer. Thereafter you will find some submucosal gland present there, that is Brunner's, example is a Brunner's gland. Then you will find some reflexes or that sensory ganglion present, that is Meissner's plexus present at the junction of mucosa and muscularis. Then you will find embedded this in a tunica muscularis, you will find embedded this Orbich flexus. These all flexes are responsible for a sensation of a stretch in a digestive systems. Okay. Thereafter, this outer visceral peritoneum, outer covering, all these digestive systems are placed hanging at same place with the help of mesenteries, and these mesenteries are attached with the parietal peritoneum. Yes, sometime somewhere you will see that different glands are connected with the GI tract. So there is a canal which pour the secretions or which take secretion from these glands and pour it into the digestive tract, and they are located outside this alimentary tract. So these are the liver, pancreas, and the salivary glands. Also, in a tunica mucosa, you will find they are spread with lot of lymph node, and it is a highly vascular area in a digestive tract. It is provided with lot of blood vessels. So they absorb that food nutrients and pass it through the portal vein to the livers. Okay, so again from inside to the outside we'll revise all the labels here. So innermost layer is a epithelium of different types and a different location in GI tract. Thereafter, immediately below to this epithelial layer there is a lamina propria. Thereafter it is supported with muscularis mucosa. Then there is a tunica submucosa layer where some these submucosal glands are embedded. After that There is this inner circular muscle layer is there, then longitudinal muscle layer is there, then this mesothelium and connective tissue layer is there. Okay, so slowly we'll see actual presence of all these layers in subsequent sections and color photographs. Histology of digestive system. All alimentary canal organs have the same four layers as mucosa, that is the innermost lining or layer, then submucosa, that is a connective tissue containing neuromuscular bundles, and the muscularis externa, that is the two layer of smooth muscles, longitudinal and circular. Then serosa, that is the outermost layer, visceral peritoneum, which connect with the peritoneal layer, which help hang that digestive system in a abdominal cavity. So the mucosa is the innermost moist epithelial layer that lines the lumina of the alimentary canal. You just recall that previous diagram where we have shown you that mucosa, which is the innermost and moist epithelial layer, consists of three layers: a lining epithelium, lamina propria, and muscularis mucosa. Its three major functions are secretion of mucus, absorption of the end product of digestions, and protection against infectious disease. So this mucosa contain in a epithelium supporting structures to the epithelium, and muscle layer, which is responsible for slight contraction of a mucosa for release of a secretion of mucus as well as help in a digestion, absorption of digestion. Okay, what that lining of epithelium means, it consists of a simple columnar epithelium and mucus secreting goblet cells. The mucus secretions that protect digestive organs from digesting themselves. Many times we secrete lot of hydrochloric acid in a digestive tract, which is so strong hydrochloric acid that if it is poured on our other side of a skin, you will have holes on your skin, but that doesn't happen in a digestive system because this mucus layer covers tissue in digestive system, internal tissues, so that acid cannot affect on the layer. Also it serves as a lubricant to ease food along the tract. Easily that food get passed over the tract. Stomach and small intestine mucosa contain enzyme secreting cells. Now here all digestion activity goes on. Esophagus is just a passage to connect stomach with the mouth. So major enzyme secretions and digestive enzyme secretion take place in a stomach and small intestine mucosa, where you will find in mucosa lot of epithelial cells responsible for enzyme secretions. Lamina propria, that is the second layer after the epithelial layer, is a loose areolar reticular connective tissue layer. The major function of this layer is to support that epithelia. They nourishes the epithelium and absorb nutrients. Their blood vessels are open and they absorb that nutrients and pass it to the further to blood vessels. And this layer also support as well as nourish to the epithelial layer. Thereafter there is a muscularis mucosa, which is a smooth muscle cells that produce local movement of mucosa. That little amount of a muscles present in that muscularis mucosa. So it is called as a muscularis. It is basically a mucosa, but where present of because of presence of some smooth muscle cells, it is called as muscularis. And the principal function of that muscularis, that smooth muscle, is to squeeze mucus from that layer and pour it on a surface. Thereafter, there is a submucosa layer, which is a dense connective tissue containing elastic fibers, blood and lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, and nerves. After submucosal layer, on outer side there is a muscularis externa. Now here this is a major muscle portions which is responsible for segmentations and peristalsis. So here you will find two types of muscles present in muscular externa as a circular and longitudinal muscle. So all that peristalsis movement is responsibility of longitudinal muscles, and the segmentation movement is the responsibility of a circular muscles. So both these two sets of muscles cause segmentation and peristalsis. Now, who protect this digestive system from outer side? The outer layer is a serosa, the protective visceral peritoneum over the that esophagus, over the stomach, duodenum, ileum, jejunum. So entire GI tract is externally protected with this serosa layer. They're replaced by fibrous adventitia and the esophagus because it is an extended portion, a long cylinder tube. So serosa membrane in case of esophagus, it is called as a fibrous adventitia. Now here in a one glance you can see the presence of a oral cavity and starting of a esophagus here. Okay. That opening of esophagus is guarded with this epiglottis and the root of this tongue, so we can control the passage, air passage, and it opens and control the windpipe. So esophagus is a muscular tube going from the laryngopharynx to the stomach. Its starting point is the laryngopharynx and end at the stomach. The function is to travel through the traveling of a food from oral cavity to the stomach. So this travel through the mediastinum and pierces the diaphragm. So from where it starts, it pierces the diaphragm. Diaphragm is a layer of a muscular layer separating abdominal cavity and thoracic cavity. Our respiration is aided with the diaphragm. Movement of diaphragm is responsible for the breathing, and that diaphragm is pierced, or through the diaphragm centrally esophagus pass into the abdominal cavity. They join the stomach at the cardiac orifice. Now the portions near to the heart of a stomach is called as a cardiac portion of a stomach, and there at the orifice, that is opening at the cardiac location in a stomach, this esophagus join. Esophagus contains this mucosa, which is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelial layer. Now here in esophagus, the types of mucosa, that means the epithelial layer is non-keratinized, it is stratified squamous epithelial layer, and the submucosal layer is contain mucus glands, that increase mucus glands at lower esophagus to protect esophagus from gastric juice. Now stomach is full of a gastric juice which is absent in a esophagus, and the mucosal layer, epithelial layer in a esophagus is stratified squamous epithelial. So if accidentally that stomach secretion, stomach contain lot of hydrochloric acid, if that stomach secretion accidentally enter into the esophagus at the junction portions, that portion could get erupted, where there the large holes will be developed in a lining of esophagus. So to protect that esophagus internal lining from the gastric juice, these mucus glands are increased at the lower portion of the esophagus where it joins with the stomach. So muscularis externa, outer second layer, outermost second layer of esophagus is a inner circular, and it contains inner circular and outer longitudinal muscles. They contain the skeletal muscle fibers. Because of that, we can ingule food and pass it to the stomach.